We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose. We just crushed their face.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Glory UGA podcast, brought to you by our good friends at MyBookie. This weekend, we've got the Battle of the Bulldogs in the SEC as number 5 Georgia is making the trip west out to Starkville to take on the SEC's other Bulldogs. Earlier in the week, I did put out my deep dive preview of this matchup between the Bulldogs and the Bulldogs. So if you're looking for a comprehensive breakdown of this game from a numbers standpoint, personnel, matchups, really looking at this game from every conceivable angle, make sure to check that out. I think you diehard Georgia fans will enjoy that. So the only thing left to do here today on the show is to give you guys my keys to a Georgia victory and that final score prediction. But real quick, guys, before we do all that, if you are a diehard Georgia fan, go ahead, subscribe right now. If you enjoy this kind of content, like the video, comment. What are your thoughts on this matchup between Georgia and Mississippi State? Do you think this is a trap game spot? Is Georgia on upset alert? Or do you think the Dogs, the Georgia Bulldogs, roll in this game and cover that 9.5-point spread? But all right, let's get to it, guys. Keys to a Georgia victory. Guys, I am not going to overcomplicate this. So from time to time, I might be guilty of doing that. Who knows? But today, I am not going to fall victim to that. I'm not going to make this more complicated than it is. This game is really going to come down to two things. Number one, can Georgia run the ball effectively? And number two, can Georgia stop the run effectively with a light box? Those are the two keys for Georgia if they want to leave Starkville 8-1 with Texas coming to town next weekend with, of course, that highly anticipated night game, that primetime matchup. So can Georgia run the ball effectively? That's important in this game, guys, for a number of reasons. First off, when you're talking about a Mississippi State offense that is as explosive as it is, a top 30 team nationally in plays of 20 and 30 more yards, a top 10 team nationally in plays of 40 or more yards. They make a living off being explosive. They're not overly efficient on a down-to-down basis. So when you're facing a team like that, what do you want to do? You want to keep that offense off the field. You want to limit the opportunities that they have to create those explosive plays. And one of the obvious ways to do that is to just make sure they don't get the ball. Play keep away. Hold the football, run the ball, grind clock, shorten the game, limit the number of opportunities they have to create those explosive plays. Because you do not want this to become a score-a-thon type game. Now, Georgia, I will say, has proven already this year on a number of different occasions that we are capable of winning that type of game. I think it's one of the stronger points about this Georgia team. We've shown that we can win whatever type of game you want us to play. Tennessee, that became a shootout. We won that game. Ole Miss, that became a shootout. We won that game. So I'm not saying that we can't do that, but against a team like Mississippi State that is explosive as they are, you don't want to get caught playing in that game because that's more so allowing them to play their game. We can win that game, but wouldn't we want to force them to play our game as opposed to being forced into a situation where we have to play their game? Because the guys, they do explosive better than we do. We have the ability to be explosive, but they are more explosive than Georgia. So limit their opportunities to do that, guys. Just limit them by running the football down their throat, grind them, guys. They don't have the type of depth that we have defensively. And if you grind them and lean on them all game long, you get to the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden those 4, 5, 6-yard gains are now 20, 25, 30-yard gains. You're ripping off chunks of yards in the fourth quarter, and you put this game away. So for me, that is the obvious number one key to this game. Can Georgia run the ball effectively? Number two, and a very close second key in this game, can Georgia stop the run specifically with light boxes? Now, when I was putting together my thoughts for this episode, I thought about just telling you guys, hey, a key to this game is just limit the explosive play for Mississippi State. And I think that is certainly a key because, again, they're top 30 nationally in plays of 20 or more yards, top 30 nationally in plays of 30 or more yards, top 10 nationally in plays of 40 more yards. So I call those explosive plus plays. But that would be very shallow analysis. Like, obviously, you don't want to let a team that has explosive playmaking ability generate explosive plays. What's more important in the direction I'm going here with this key is how. How do you limit the explosive playmaking ability of this Mississippi State team with guys like Brennan Thompson, Anthony Evans out wide, and a quarterback that has played a lot of football, Blake Shapen, played at Baylor for a long time. He's a 24-year-old, fifth-year senior, played a ton of football at the college level. So how do you limit those guys from going wild with explosive plays? You stop the run. And if you go back, those of you who checked out the deep dive preview. You've already heard me say this, but for those of you who missed it, again, go check that out for a more comprehensive breakdown. But I'll give you a quick little overview here, guys. This Mississippi State offense is the traditional Josh Heupel offense. In fact, it really traces its origins back to Art Briles' days at Baylor. Jeff Lebby, the head coach, the architect of this Mississippi State offense, was at Baylor back when Art Briles was there. He was the OC under Josh Heupel at UCF. He then took that offense and went to Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin incorporated a lot of those principles into what he does. It's kind of a hybrid of the Art Briles Baylor stuff, the deep option offense. You got some West Coast stuff. You've got a little bit of air raid building that Ole Miss offense, but it certainly has an element of that Josh Heupel, Art Briles, Jeff Lebby, Tennessee offense, that deep option offense. Then he goes to Oklahoma, kind of does the same thing, and now he's established his own program, his own offense at Mississippi State. So what does that mean? Why does that mean stopping the run so important here? Guys, so if you know anything about the Tennessee offense, this deep option offense that Josh Heupel's have been running at Tennessee forever. Now, this year they have evolved a lot. They did something very differently against us than they had in years past, but there was a reason why Georgia had been able to limit Josh Heupel's Tennessee offenses, these high-flying Tennessee offenses, dropping 40 and 50 on a regular basis against just about everybody else. There's a reason why they can never score more than 17 points against the Georgia defense until this year. Because the way their offense was structured, what they're going to do, what they did traditionally, not as much this year, it was a box read at the line of scrimmage. If they read light box, if they read that Tennessee has even numbers or better in the box, they were going to run the football. They were committed to doing that, right? And when you do that and you're biting up 4, 5, 6 yards a pop, eventually the opposing defense is going to get tired of that. And they're going to start rolling safeties in the box. What does that do? Now that means you have to come out of your too high safety shell. You got to come out of your quarters low shell, come out of your cover 2 looks. And now you got single high looks. So you can play man under, you can play some cover 3 stuff. But now what you're doing is you're giving Tennessee those one-on-one shots, more of the one-on-one looks outside than you would have to if you're able to play with a too high safety shell. And most teams, when Tennessee was committed to run the football against light boxes, they weren't good enough up front in the front 6, defensive line especially, to stop the Tennessee run game with even numbers. So Tennessee would just take what you're giving them and run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Eventually you get tired of that, so you roll a safety down the box, and then when you do that, now you create those one-on-one looks on the outside that Tennessee was trying to create. That's what they're trying to create, is those vertical shots down the field, those kill shots I call them, when they get more one-on-one looks on the outside. But why did that never work against Georgia? Because Georgia was too good on the defensive line and too good in the front 6 in general. We were able to consistently limit the Tennessee run game with a light box, thereby allowing us to maintain that too high safety shell, and that allowed us to limit the explosive play opportunities, those one-on-one shots that Tennessee was always trying to generate. So Tennessee banged their head against the wall year after year doing the same thing against Georgia, and it never worked. So this year, they changed some things offensively that we did not see coming because they had a full offseason to prepare for that, and we weren't quite ready for that, and the result was they put up 40 on us, right? That's the first time that ever happened in a Josh Heupel, Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann matchup, right? Well, this Mississippi State offense is kind of built in a very similar fashion. Like Tennessee, there's a misnomer that Mississippi State just throws the ball all over the park, that they're just throwing the ball every single down. This is not a Mike Leach air raid offense. We're going to throw the ball 60 times a game. This is more like the Tennessee deep option offense. They actually run the ball 58% of the time. More than Georgia, slightly more than Georgia even runs the football. And you know that we are a run-heavy offense, a run-first offense. So Mississippi State guys, when they get the light boxes, they are committed to running into those boxes with good running backs, Devon Booth, Fluff Bothwell. Both guys are capable of making teams pay. But Georgia, if we can stop the run effectively with those light boxes, what does that mean? Again, we are able to keep a too high safety shell. We're able to keep safety help over the top, and we are able to limit the explosive play opportunities that they're going to be able to try to generate down the field. That is the key, guys. That was the key to stopping the Baylor offenses. That was the key to stopping the Josh Heupel offenses at UCF and Tennessee, and that is the key to stopping this Mississippi State offense. Yes, they do have explosive playmaking ability, but there is a way to stop it, and that way is to stop the run with even numbers in the box, with those light boxes. That's it, guys. That's it. I'm not going to make it any more complicated than that. Those are the 2 keys to this game. It is truly that simple. Now, the bigger question that I want to address now is, can Georgia do those 2 things? Can Georgia run the ball effectively? Can Georgia stop the Mississippi State run game with a light box? Well, at least can we do that enough to win and cover the 9.5 point spread? And personally, guys, I know I'm a Georgia guy. Call me a homer if you want. That's fine. But I think the answer is yes. And let me back that up, guys. Why do I think the answer is yes to both of those keys? Well, number one, Georgia has been elite at really two things this year, one on offense and one on defense. Running the football, borderline elite running the football, and borderline elite stopping the run. Maybe not full on elite, but really, 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 really good at those two things. That's what we do best offensively, run the football, and that is what we do best defensively. We stop the run. Okay, so that in and of itself, we can stop it right there. But let's go a little bit deeper than that. Running the football, guys, Georgia's averaging 173 rushing yards a game against SEC competition. That's the fourth best in the league. And Mississippi State, guys, oh, yeah, they have the second worst rush defense in the entire league. They are giving up only 5 yards less rushing per game to SEC opponents, 182, only 5 yards less than Arkansas. And if you have watched Arkansas play this year, guys, you know how bad they are against the run. Mississippi State, guys, is about just as bad as Arkansas is stopping the run. So you have a really good rushing offense who's been able to run the ball on a lot better teams in the SEC that stop the run a lot better than Mississippi State does. We put up over 200 against Alabama, almost 200 against Tennessee, who hasn't been great stopping the run. Over 200 against Ole Miss. They're not great stopping the run, but all those teams, all of them, are better than Mississippi State. We put up more yards against Kentucky, and Kentucky's a better rushing defense than Mississippi State is, guys. So why would Georgia not be able to run the ball effectively against this Mississippi State defense? I think the answer is clearly yes. Georgia should be able to run the football effectively. I think we'll get Gunnar Stockton involved a little bit more in the quarterback run game this week than we did a week ago. But I think the Dogs will have success running the football, controlling the clock, limiting the number of points that Mississippi State defense is, even the opportunities they have to put up points on the board. And then stopping the run, guys. Mississippi State runs the ball fairly well. They're not a bad rush offense. They do run the ball well. Two good backs. But Georgia's rush defense has been awesome all year, guys. We're only allowing 94 rushing yards per game, only 105 rushing yards per game against SEC opponents. This Georgia football team, guys, is a line of scrimmage team. That's what we are. Can we generate explosive plays? Sure, yes. But we are a line of scrimmage team that excels at running the football and stopping the run. And owning the line of scrimmage just so happens to be what you need to be able to do to beat Mississippi State, to run away with this game and cover that 9.5-point spread. So I love this line. It opened at 8.5. It quickly dropped to 7.5. I was surprised to see that on Monday. Didn't stay there long. Now it's back up at 9.5. So I don't love it as much at 9.5. I would have liked it a lot more at 7.5. I do have respect for this Mississippi State team. Jeff Levy's done a good job. I think he's establishing a solid program there. They are much improved. At least they're much improved on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, they're still a train wreck. They were a train wreck last year. They are still horrible. They're giving up over 450 yards a game against SEC opponents this year, guys. That ain't getting it done. So offensively, yes, I have respect for them. They do have a lot of playmakers on that side of the ball. They can generate some explosive plays, and we have had issues at times, some high-profile situations giving up explosive plays. But if you look at our numbers, guys, we actually aren't giving up all that many explosive plays. I think the explosive plays that we've given up, they were just in big moments, so it's kind of seared into our brain, and we're so invested that you remember those things. But by and large, we have not been giving up explosive plays at a very high clip. So I do respect this Mississippi State team. I also have respect for the spot. I do think it's a trap game setting, obviously sandwiched between two high-profile games. I know Florida's not good this year, but it's a big rivalry game in Jacksonville. They just fired their head coach. And you got a highly anticipated matchup. Texas coming to Athens next weekend for the first time ever to play between the hedges. And you got little Mississippi State sandwiched in between them. I get that it's a trap game setting, but the question I've been asking all week, is it really a trap game setting when everyone sees that it's a trap game, when everyone out there is talking about it being a trap game? And guys, this is Kirby Smart that we're talking about. This man, you saw him in the locker room immediately after the Florida game. He said, all right, great win, awesome job, but hey, Mississippi State, we got a tough game ahead of us. He's already talking about it, guys. He knows just like you and I know. He is not going to allow this team to sleepwalk through this game, to no-show in this game. Now, that doesn't mean we can't lose. We could feasibly lose this game. Mississippi State is better than they were a year ago. I think they're more equipped to potentially beat us if we don't show up in this game. But guys, if they somehow pull off this upset, I do not believe it will be because Georgia was sleepwalking through this game. I don't see that being the case, guys. I don't think that we are going to sleepwalk through these things. I don't think Kirby Smart is going to allow that. I don't think our leadership on this team, I don't think our culture will allow us to do that. And so as long as we do not commit catastrophic turnovers and essentially just hand them the football game on a silver platter. I think the matchups favor Georgia in a tremendous way in this game. And Georgia's also not shown a propensity to turn the ball over a lot this year. So I think the Dogs protect the football enough. We don't hand them the football game. I think we dominate the run game on both sides of the football. We control the clock. We generate some explosives of our own. We stifle the Mississippi State run game with even numbers in the box and limit the opportunities they have to generate those one-on-one kill shots down the field and get out of Starkville with a nice, solid, comfortable win. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be a flat-out dominant win that we're going to win by 20 or 30 points like we used to back in 21 and 22 and 23. It's the SEC, guys. Every single game, every week seems like it comes down to a couple possessions here and there. So I'm not saying a full-on blowout win, but I do think it's a nice, solid, comfortable win. I'm going to say Georgia 34-20, Dogs, real Dogs, on top in this one. So there you go, guys. Those are my keys to a Georgia victory and my final score prediction. Again, let me know what you guys think. Am I off base here? Do you think it's going to be tighter than what I'm telling you right now? Are you concerned more about the matchups than I am? Love to hear from you guys. And again, if you are a diehard Georgia fan, this channel is designed for you. So go ahead and subscribe right now, like the video, and keep on coming back for more, guys. So thank you so much for your support. I greatly, greatly appreciate you. I'm Tyler, and as always, go Dogs!
Man, is there going to be some property destroyed tonight. 26-21. Dogs on top.